I just wanted to talk a little bit about who's in the room. We're blessed this year to be kind of bulging at the seams. We actually were turning people away yesterday. And this kind of gives you the breakout of who's in the room. And one of the things, you've often seen my three-legged stool thing, if you've been to this before, that one leg's the regulators and one leg's the pipeline industry and the other is public. I've got board members now telling me this is an old model and we need to toss it out because there's actually 14 different legs, not just 3, when you start trying to divide the public up into local governments and tribes and NGOs and ENGOs and different groups. But this kind of gives you a sense, and I think this is what really makes this conference unique compared to most any other pipeline conference I've been, that there's a fairly good mix of different stakeholders in the room, where often these pipeline conferences are kind of an echo chamber within the industry or regulators. And where are we from? We are covering most of the United States. Everything in green there's someone from those states, so it's pretty impressive. I don't know if we missed anybody. We had a lot of last-minute registrations. And we also have a fairly good group this year from Canada coming in. Those are the Canadians clapping. You can tell them because they'll say no worries and process and a lot. We also want to thank the people that help sponsor citizen travel. One of the things we really believe in is that the way people get here, citizens often can't afford to come to workshops and conferences and those types of things. The trust sets aside a chunk of money each year to help pay for people to attend so they can participate more actively. And in the last few years, we've been joined by a number of different groups that have also donated money to help get people here. Normally, the trust does not accept money from industry. This is one of the 2 exceptions that I can think of where we actually do that because we think it's so valuable, and we set this money aside in a separate pot, and it only goes to helping pay public to attend these types of things. So we want to thank all those companies there for their varying degrees of support, and all of you public activists that are here, now you know that the industry paid your way, so choke on that if you want. We also want to thank PHMSA because this conference is being webcast live. And PHMSA has done this for, I think this is our 11th year in New Orleans doing a conference like this, and PHMSA's done it every year. And according to the webcast people, that means that up to, I think one year we had 600 people that tuned in and were watching from somewhere afar that couldn't make it or watch a session. The other thing I'll mention is we are also videotaping the sessions in this room and the sessions across the hall, and those will all be available to watch after the conference is over. So we really appreciate that support from PHMSA to make this happen. And finally, I just want to introduce a few people in the room. I know there's a lot of people from a lot of different areas that are always looking to network and to get in touch with people while they're here, and they don't always know who to reach out to. So I'm going to put some people on the spot here. First of all, we have a huge contingent this year. I think there was 15 or 16 people from PHMSA. So any PHMSA staff person, stand up so we can put targets on your back. And I think there's more of them to hear that, and you'll be hearing from a lot of them over the next couple of days. Most all of them are speaking in one capacity or not, but a lot of the community assistance and technical services people, the CATS people, are here too. So lots of people from PHMSA that can answer questions. Bill Bird, where's Bill Bird? Stand up, Bill. I'm pointing to Bill Bird because he owes me drinks, and I just wanted to put him on the spot that he never pays his debts. And what I really wanted to point out Bill for is we run a national Safe Pipelines listserv that goes, I think 800 or 900 people are on it. And we post stories every day, and people have discussions from time to time about what's in those stories. And often, the public and advocates will chime in on the list. They'll see a story and they'll say something or ask a question, and sometimes it's kind of a one-sided comment that they make. And Bill, I think, is the only industry, I'll call him industry person, that is consistently chimed in on that list, because it's not always we try to keep it a friendly list, and I think we do a pretty good job of that. But it's hard for the industry to get engaged with discussions on that list. And Bill consistently answers questions and gives good technical advice. He's a consultant, he knows what he's talking about, and we really appreciate him chiming in on that list. So if there's any citizens here that have questions, he's a good place to start. Rick Kuprowitz, where's Rick Kuprowitz? He's got to be here someplace. Speaking of other independent experts, you'll see his name in newspaper stories a lot. He represents a lot of local governments, nonprofit groups around the country. We did a national RFQ a couple of years ago trying to find independent engineer types that would actually work for the public. And it was very hard for us to find hardly anybody because most big consulting firms do a lot of work for the oil and gas industry, so they feel conflicted to go and work for a local government that might put them in conflict with the industry that pays a lot of their bills. Rick is one of the few that has worked. He chimes in on the list too. He gives us a lot of free advice, and you'll see his name in a lot of newspapers, so I wanted to point him out. Let's see, who else? Craig Pearson. Where's Craig? Let's see, what can we say about Craig? I was just going to point out probably the highest ranking pipeline industry official in the room. How's that for a target? Craig is the president of Marathon Pipeline. We've had a long-standing relationship. I can't remember. I was invited to Findlay, Ohio, where Marathon has their headquarters. They're one of the few that's not in Houston. And Ohio's a much more pleasant place than Houston. Invited there years ago to speak at an all-employee meeting, and ever since then we've had a relationship with Marathon where we work with them on some other public awareness stuff. And Craig has showed up here. You know, you're going to hear from Craig tomorrow, so I'm not going to steal his thunder, but Marathon has been one of those leaders in kind of really talking with the public. And he's one of the few pipeline presidents that consistently shows up here. We get a lot of them. So if you're looking for an industry top-of-the-ladder person to chat with, I would start with him. My board of directors, I can't forget them or I'll be out of a job by Monday. So the Pipeline Safety Trust Board, why don't you stand up? So anything you don't like at the conference, these are the people to track down. And they're from all over the country, and some of them are even on weird little islands out in the south of here. And finally, I just want to point out that for the first time, Peter Watson, who is the chair of the National Energy Board of Canada, is here today. We have been doing some efforts in Canada, and been very pleased with the way the National Energy Board has been responding and putting more information on their website and moving forward on greater transparency. So you'll be hearing from Peter first thing tomorrow morning, but for the Canadians who are here or anybody that has questions about the differences between the way Canada regulates pipelines and the way we do it here in the U.S., there's the top guy in Canada sitting right there that you can chat with.